hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
Oh no.
It is our computer. Okay. I think I can hear something now.
You can hear something?
I hear something now. We have a bad computer.
Oh no.
To the speakers because her husband uses it.
Ah.
Are we the first?
You're the first. Hello.
Oh, wow. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
I have Diane behind me as soon as I move my big booty. I'm trying to get her
on early to see if Mindy wanted to chat, but this is delightful. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hang on.
Where are you guys located?
Why am I not getting you up on a big screen?
If you hit speaker view in your upper right hand corner, do you see something like that?
What are you saying?
There's a little button at the top that should say speaker view.
I'm not on that. I just see you. I have no Zoom in front of me here. Stop video. Hide video. Zoom. I'll get it.
I'm just going to fiddle with a window really quick because it's really bright. Is that better? That's better.
Yeah, just you in the corner. Camera on. Well, maybe it's supposed to be that way. She should come up on her TV. You're there. Mindy's on.
Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Dorothy.
Hi. See, now you're popping up and Lindsay left. I don't know, maybe this is different.
Really?
I'm trying to get where we see the whole picture on this TV and I'm just getting you in a corner.
Changes we had to make in the last year, our shopping and buying routines.
Lori's coming on.
Ricky Wynn looks at what's
What did you say? Do you see four of us up?
No, everybody's switching back and forth in a little teeny tiny picture.
Are you on a computer screen or a phone?
Every time he brings it back, it's
Look at your little. Look at that. Look at her studio. Wow.
It's the only corner that looks okay. So.
I think it looks great.
Thank you.
This is
I'm getting it. I'm computer ignorant. Speaker view, Valerie. Okay, full screen. Where's full screen? Maximize. Now where'd you go? All left me.
You can't find me?
They're all gone, Diane.
Oh.
Oh, Lordy.
We're hiding from you.
There you are. I got it.
Sandi.
Diana's going to have to eat dinner while she listens. Oh, and
Supplies, the holiday gifts. We got what we wanted and fast. That convenience will stay, along with easier ways to pay.
Oh my goodness. What are you guys listening to? Who is that? Is that you, Sandi?
No, what am I listening to? I don't hear anything.
Sandi, are you going to let us see you? We're not doing yoga. We're doing art. Why can't we see your face?
Well, I will see what I can do. Brace yourself. You might not be prepared.
Oh, stop it.
the thing. Huh. I'm trying to find the thing where it lets me open the video. That's weird.
Oh, see, she's having trouble too.
It's the way of meetings this year. We're all doing that.
Well, Dorothy, so it's not the same layout? Are you on gallery layout or?
Well, I've got you now. Now I can't hear you well.
Mm.
Like I say, it's
Oh,
this
no.
computer. I'm not hearing you out of the TV like I should be. But she can hear you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but can you hear her?
Diane has beautiful art behind her, even though we can't see it at the moment. I always see her when she's doing yoga.
Hello.
I'll show you all the paintings that she's got from this one painter. That one behind her is one of them.
I love that painting.
Oh, I can't. The computer won't work that way.
Diane, that's beautiful.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I like the colors a lot on that one.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I love when she does yoga and we can see her with, oh my goodness, you're moving around art, Dorothy. That's great.
Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yes.
we see it.
Just pours it on. And there's a bigger one in the bedroom, but I'm not bringing that one out.
No, I think you better leave that. Thank you for showing your art, Diane.
What did I walk in on?
I want someone to move paintings around.
Love to see your art. Hello, Patrick.
Hey,
Hi, Mindy.
Pat.
Hello.
Patrick's gonna zoom in. He zooms in and he zooms out.
Oh, okay.
You just never know what you're gonna get.
I
You
love
know how many women have said that in my life?
it.
Going to send someone.
Tonight, the emotional tribute to the officer killed in the Boulder supermarket rampage and the urgent search
I
for
guess I
answers.
should have kept that.
Cars and cars
by my
lining the roads as
side,
police procession escorts the body of Officer Eric Talley, father of 7, to a funeral home. The hero among 10 killed in the rampage. Their loved ones sharing their heartbreak tonight.
What are you guys watching over there?
Here's what we've learned about his history of violence and mental problems. Plus, the raging debate over guns, with President Biden supports any Senate rules to push these reforms through. On the border, our correspondent getting the first inside a facility holding child migrants. What we found is a stunning number of kids there who have tested positive for COVID. Now they're being cared for. COVID on the rise again in 20 states in the push to reopen schools. Students being left behind. The disturbing new video of the attack on a Capitol police officer who later died. What
Sounds like somebody's eating.
Drug threats on the move tonight. Millions at risk. Soccer superstar Megan Rapinoe. The fight she's taking all the way to Washington.
I don't even know how to put a countdown on.
At the moment, they have waited a year. This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. Good evening, everyone.
Who's
Why
got
did
the
we
keys
do
to
it?
the bathroom?
Knowing, of course, won't erase the
Yeah, you
pain
have
to the
to.
families of the 10 people killed in Monday's
You don't wanna
Colorado
hear the
supermarket
bad
rampage. Yet we are driven to understand and learn more about the
This is art.
suspect. Maybe the clues are in the troubled history of the man now charged with the murders. A
Who's
history of
got the
violence
radio
that has
going?
emerged as
Diane,
police
it's
try
not
to
you.
learn about
I
what led up to the mass
So
shooting.
that does kind of
Meantime,
ruin
what is now a familiar
Oh, it
I'm
stopped.
overthinking
It was
that.
Patrick. He's looking guilty over there.
Oh, it's so good to see everybody.
I actually don't listen to radio or watch television.
Wow. Good for you.
I'm old-fashioned.
You're old fashioned. What do you listen to? The radio?
I listen to very little radio at all. If I was to turn the radio on, it'd probably be for NPR.
Ah,
So I'm more likely to pick a book up than turn a TV on or a radio.
Good for you.
Let me see your t-shirt, Angela. What's it say on the top? Walk MS. Together we are stronger. Walk MS 2020. When do the walks begin?
I'm sorry?
When do the walks begin for 2021? Well, does it depend where you live? Like, are they going out
where you live?
You're at, Lindsay?
What's
Some
that?
of them already started, and ours starts on April 10th.
Oh, I think we're a little slower in Michigan because it's just warming up.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss
Still have
Mary.
snow on the ground, Mindy?
Hi, Mindy.
There's no snow. We've been spoiled. The last few days are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon is in our second false spring of the year, where everybody is tricked into getting flowers and then it frosts over again for a week.
Yes.
No, and what do
Yes.
the flowers do?
They all die and then we have to buy new ones and then it's mud
Oh
season.
no.
Am I selling Oregon well? Then it's mud season. Then there's about a month of summer and then it's rain.
I have 18 daffodils.
Ooh, I love them.
Starting, not flowers.
Love that.
Ours
Oh, you
flowered.
counted
It's
them,
done.
did you?
Ours flowered and they're done.
Yeah, ours are in bloom right now.
We're like 4 weeks from vegetable planting season.
Yes, it's time.
I grow kale chips every year.
You grow
Plant
kale chips?
forget about it, and then
You grow
I
the
grow
chips,
kale, but
huh?
I don't do the chips.
I just cut out the whole cooking process. I just don't water them. So
Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
Do they taste
Experience.
no, total joke. I should not garden. I should not be near plants. So
I love
I wish
to
I
do
could, but I forget about it.
avoid the cooking. That was good, and I love the garden. Oh, that's funny.
We'll give it another minute and then we'll start. I know people kind of, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, so it's 4 o'clock where you're at, and it's 7 o'clock here.
And I'm having a late dinner, so I'm going to be cooking while I'm watching part of this.
You recognize names here, Lindsay?
I don't recognize names. Yeah, is everyone in your yoga classes?
No, not everybody. Not
I love
everybody.
that.
I'd say
It
about
should be.
half.
This is also going to be very interesting because I'm having a very heavy week of optic neuritis. So
Okay,
Oh.
well, everyone here understands.
I know I love working with all my people because you get it. So I kind of look like I've got confetti over everyone's faces right now. So
Oh, that's not good.
it makes the art more
I was
interesting.
about to say, how do art?
It's a trust fall. It comes out how it wants to come out. So yes.
I cannot wait to see this.
Me neither.
I'll show you a few things. Yes. I'm just curious what everybody's questions are and how I can help show you some things.
Well, we can start, and if people join, they join.
Okay.
I'm excited to learn, and then we will. I'm gonna hit the record button. Oh, it is already. Is it already recorded? Oh, it is recorded. So we'll cut off the beginning part, but it's recorded, and that way we can download it, and people can watch it. We can send the link
cool.
out to you. So if anyone missed it and wants to see it.
Great.
All right, so then we'll get going. You guys must be on because you know who Lindsay is. Although I've definitely been telling our students about you. And how many here heard Lindsay on Instagram Live or have seen her before?
Not I.
Nice to meet all of you. Thank you for joining this
Nice to
evening.
meet you.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
I
being here.
appreciate it.
I'm gonna read her bio just because I don't
Oh.
want to goof it up if I don't read it. and then we'll start our time together. So Lindsey Holcomb is an internationally recognized artist and the founders of the Colors of MS project, which is #ColorsOfMS, who works primarily in ink and thread. The mission of Colors of MS is to flip the script on how we face diagnosis by translating MRI into vibrant abstract art and highlighting diverse experiences of people living with multiple sclerosis. The Colors of MS participants currently span 9 countries and 26 US.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Oh, wow.
Lindsey works in arts education in the greater Portland, Oregon area, where she lives with her little family and a small doggy. Is that
Herd of dogs. It's a small zoo over here.
Oh, a small herd. Okay.
I was gonna say that
You were able to join us today and tell us about
I
what you do
appreciate
and
it.
how
Thank
you
you.
do it.
Oh, here comes
For
one.
creating this space. I'd say yes. The part I emphasize with that part of the bio is yes. I've been really thankful to do this project, but I am a mom of 2 daughters. I have 3 dogs and 2 gerbils and a part-time job and a relapsing remitting MS diagnosis, which, as you all know, can be a full-time job as well to manage. And I started this project about 2.5 years ago after leaving a corporate job for 15 years. So I did the very 80-hour work week, grinding myself into the ground all throughout before getting diagnosed. And unfortunately, when I shared my diagnosis with HR, I was orged out. So it was a very difficult winter. I had done some art shows before in oil and acrylic, and it was always something I did in my spare time at 10 p.m. after the kids were asleep, which was exhausting. And so once I had left that job and had time on my hands, I really had to sit and think about what I wanted my energy to go to, and really committed myself to doing art in a way that felt comfortable. And I say that because I did a lot for a very long time. I did oil portraiture, which was something I love doing, but as I had my symptoms with optic neuritis and tremors and spasticity and all of that were kind of increasing, it was becoming something that I would fight with in a way. That really, really fine detail is really difficult for me, and it became not an enjoyable process anymore. And that's not to say that I don't still use oils and acrylics, but I found ink as a really relaxing and new medium. Oh, I hate just seeing my head. This is terrible. In this view, I'm going to do that. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's ever worked with ink, but they're like these little guys. You see them at craft stores, things like that. A lot of people use it to make tiles, things on ceramics. It's permanent that way, and it has a mind of its own. So it's a medium that when you start using it, it does what it wants to do. Yes, you can shape it, you can dilute it with various things to get it to do some things, but it's really it's a trust fall, and it's kind of my version of a meditation of just trusting the process. So in my artist journey and in my MS journey, finding the medium that kind of worked with me best was a really big turning point. And is something I like to share with people, especially when they're like, oh, I'm not an artist, I can't do art, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I'm like, you just haven't found your medium. you know, you don't have to start a global project, but you can play with things and find a new way to do something. I like to play with clay. I'm not good at it. You don't have to be good at it. I like to burn wood. Looks awful. Great fun. You know, there's quite a lot of art I don't share with people because it's just fun, and it helps my brain and it helps me stay creative. So when I grew up, you know, I don't have a fine arts background. I went to school for violin, actually. My mother's an artist and my sister's an artist, and so I always kind of stayed in my lane in my family. I'm like, I'm not the artist. They're off doing arty things. I like crafting. I like trying things. I like playing with things, but it wasn't ever my intention to be my career choice necessarily. So it's been really a wild 2.5 years. Does anyone have questions? I can ramble for a very long time, so you just have to interrupt me.
I just wanted to tell you that I love that you said you were into music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
My daughter is a music therapist.
I loved that. I thought about going to school for that for a long time.
For autistic, Down syndrome, and cerebral palsy people.
Oh, that's important work. That's wonderful to hear.
That's sweet.
I love it.
All right, never mind. You had a question.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go back on mute.
Yeah, go back on mute or I'll put you on mute. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, I've already put myself on it.
Oh, Mindy, I think you're the yoga teacher I always needed.
So,
I'm teasing her. We love her.
If you like ink, but that's only half of the medium, what do you generally use it on? Is it paper? Is it canvas? It's like you mentioned.
Yeah, I found this paper. You can get it. I don't have the thing. It's called Yupo. And Yupo is polypropylene. So it's like a plastic.
Right.
And so it doesn't let anything absorb into it. If you used it on a watercolor paper or anything like that, it would just sink right in and you couldn't do anything to it. So yes, you could seal something to be water resistant, and that would work with ink. I think a lot of people do that. It works over wax. It works over anything that doesn't absorb. The reason I decided to start doing Yupo is that the paintings that I do with MRIs are 2 layers. And this is why I do crazy video angles with all my paintings, because you can't really tell that in a still photo. So I do 2 paintings for every MRI. And this is one I shared today. This is Sloan's MS MRI. Trying to catch the light. And this is on my Instagram today, so you can see what her MRI that she submitted to me, what that looks like. This is actually a profile view. Wow. And I cut out different structures and the lesions that I can tell. Obviously, I'm not a neurologist or radiologist. I don't know every single tiny thing, but I pick out what's interesting to me. And if somebody shares with me a specific lesion, I will include that, of course. But it's hard to tell, but there are cutouts where the different structures are. So that's the top layer. And it adds this whole different dimension to the painting. And that's something that I was really interested with from my my background. I'm half Japanese, and there's a really elaborate art of paper cutting in Japan that if my hands cooperated with me, I would really want to study that. My early MRIs that I was doing with this technique, I was using an X-Acto knife, and it was both dangerous and very difficult. And so the reason, this is a long preamble to say why I chose this paper. Again, it's a poly. I use a wood burning tool to cut out the lesions. So it's a wood burning pen, and it just melts the paper away with no pressure or tension involved on my end. And, you know, for somebody that previously was struggling cutting a round circle out of a paper, a thick paper that was really stressful for me, especially on the larger pieces, I can now do something like this in like an hour, so these are like faces. This is that same paper.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
This is
That's
all
very cool. Did you do that?
Yep.
Wow.
So this is my version of doodling. I was just trying it out. I'm like, well, let's see what we did if I just, give it a whirl. It's got a really like rough texture on the top. It's smoother on the back. These are all a bunch of faces and shapes and things like that. But again, this requires no pressure from my hand, which was really important in choosing this particular paper. Now, I also have a few details that are not helpful to my symptoms, and I do a lot of fine dots, and I do threading on every single one of my papers.
What do you mean by threading?
So this is thread right here. So I embroider every piece, and that is me being a cheeky granddaughter, because my grandmother, who passed 2 years ago, was a costumer seamstress. And she was a very stubborn, wonderful lady who would never say she's an artist. She would say like, oh, shut up, knock it off. No way. If you're like, you're an artist, Grandma, she'd be so annoyed by that. And so the one thing when she passed, the only thing that I wanted was her sewing kit. And so that's all of her thread back there.
oh,
And
nice.
so to just be a cheeky granddaughter, I put her thread on all of my art. So
That's
That
so
is
nice.
all over the world now.
your lineage into that makes it very special.
And it's almost the third layer to the painting, which I just enjoy building that texture. And I think that's something I really loved with working with acrylics and oil, how you can build up texture and things like that. Ink is very flat. And so, yeah, those are a few things that I use. But this wood burning tool, that was a huge turning point with completing this project and bringing it to where it is.
How did you figure that out?
Oh gosh, I think it was a 3 a.m. YouTube rabbit hole, one of those. I have no idea how I ended up there. I don't know what the actual purpose of whatever the demo was that I was watching, but I'm like, aha! That'll work.
My dad was an eye doctor, and this like thing to cauterize with. It was much smaller than that, but it reminded me of it.
I'm gonna have to find that. There's several tips. These are very, they're very, very cheap, but it's been just like such a good workaround for me. I also use one of these guys. I don't know if you've seen these at hardware stores.
Yeah, that's another thing I
don't even know what this is for. Do people use this
I've seen doctors use it for sure. And yeah.
All I know is it's $4 and it super magnifies, so I'm not straining my eyes, which my top symptom is optic neuritis, and I can easily just have everything start crossing or blurring. And this really helps me get through the last few dots, and my whole family thinks it's hilarious. It's obviously super glamorous, and it was $4, and it was a great find.
You have found really good tools.
If you can imagine, I have to work the ink. It's toxic. It's not good to breathe in. So I want everybody to know that if you are going to try and play with it, you need to have good ventilation. It's highly recommended that you use a mask when you're working with it. And so, I felt very COVID ready when this last year came, because I work in full mask and goggles and all of this. So, and that's again just me being stubborn, that of course I found a toxic medium when I have 4 autoimmune conditions.
Some of us like toxic.
Why not?
Lindsay, I have a question for you. I work actually with stained glass. And I work
Oh,
with soldering
ooh.
irons. And quite often people will come to me and ask, can we use a soldering iron? And they bring one of those electrical ones. They have a very fine tip and they don't work for stained glass, but I'm thinking it might work for you if you're already using a wood burning tool, you're already melting the plastic sheet.
Yeah,
You can
I
get
would
a
love to look into
fine
that.
tip. Yeah, really fine tip ones. You can get them at the hardware store. And
Yeah.
they're usually around $20 or $30 here in Canada.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I just happened to think, and again, I agree with the toxic hobbies. I'm working with acids and all kinds of stuff and flux.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
And I'm
Yeah.
the same as you. I'm the full gear. I've got the great big 2 Canon filtered mask and goggles and a face shield.
you go, girl.
And
I
it's
love that.
but it's fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
If I could learn any other medium, it would be glass blowing. And I think I shared this with my parents recently. And they're just like, Lindsay, because I have mobility issues, I have tremors, I have eye issues. I'm like, well, 2000 degrees sounds really fun. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's
blow
roll
it.
around glass.
I've actually
Are
done
you
I've actually done glass blowing, and because of one of my things is I've always had asthma, and the muscles around my lungs actually get spastic, and that's part of the MS. So I actually can't blow. I tried, it did not work out, but I do fuse glass as well, which is melting the glass. So that if you couldn't, so if you couldn't do the blowing, you could also try the medium of fuse glass, which is hot working glass too.
Excellent. I will try it. And especially if somebody says that I can't do it, I will try it.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm going to tell you, you can do it, but just make sure you get now, here's more stuff you're going to have to get. You're going to have to get UV glasses, shade shoe glasses. Otherwise, the hot glass, if you look at it for a long time, will actually burn your eyes.
Nice.
And yeah, but there is, if anyone has seen the last episodes of Blown Away on Netflix, the one girl who came in second place, she actually has a cancer condition, I think it is, of the eyes, and she still does it too. So, I mean, her eyes are she's got basically the same type of thing we get, the optic neuritis, and she's saying she's not stopping. So
yes, that was very inspiring. My 8-year-old and I are very into that show. So.
Something new. I don't know about this. Gonna check it out. Wow.
You have to check it out. It is unbelievable glass work by unbelievable people.
On my list.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Very meditative to watch as well. And so anything like that, I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Since my diagnosis, with nothing better to do and so much time on my hands, I've taken up sculpting. And I'm coming from a lifetime of being a contractor in residential remodeling. So what do I sculpt with? Because it's cheap, drywall compound.
Oh, it's brilliant.
You can play with it wet, and you can mix it to be firmer or more liquidy. And then as it's curing, you can easily carve it, like scraping it off with a butter knife. And then as it gets harder and harder, you start actually carving into the solid surface. And then when it's fully cured, you can sand it also. So it's a weird sculpture material, but I'm so familiar with the product, it just seemed like an obvious choice.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Sandi, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Because obviously you're working on someone's MRI, but how do you get the actual MRI?
That is a very large part that is unseen about my studio. And Mindy, I think we briefly touched on that in our Instagram live, but I have become this strange advocate for owning your own medical imagery. Because it is very hard to get sometimes.
Yep.
Some people, it's posted online, or your neurologist is like, yep, sure, here, I'll send it to you. Others, it's very, I've gotten a lot of people that have encountered a little bit of suspicion, like, well, why would you need this? What do you need this for? How do you need this? Well, it's kind of an inconvenience. It's kind of, and we've all dealt with that on one form or the other, which just makes me madder and want to help more. And, I've had people kind of like snap little paparazzi pictures when they're in their appointment, which is not the best.
That's the only MRI.
Love
picture I
that
have.
paparazzi.
It happens. It happens. You know, I'm
Photo
like,
of the doc's laptop.
yes,
Oh.
yes, you have to do that.
You
A
know,
lot of
ultimately, it's your medical record. It's your brain they took a picture of. So
and you
yeah,
paid
I think
for it.
it
It's you
doesn't
and
make sense.
you own it. Hmm.
So do they like when you successfully get one, you get it on a disc or something? Or
Right.
does it come out printed
They
out?
will sometimes, all different manners it's come. A lot of people will email it, they'll post it to your chart, they'll give it to you on a disc, or they'll print it out. The printed ones I find are when you're at the desk and everyone's confused as to why you need this, and you finally find someone that takes pity to print out a few. It's very rare that I've gotten those. The discs can be fiddly because a lot of times the images that are on them require medical systems to read them. And also, I don't know about you, but I don't have anything with a CD-ROM in my house anymore. I used to, but I don't. And so I remember there's been a few where I was running around to libraries and it's just kind of a disaster. So I've noticed there's a lot more resistance in the US to getting images. I feel like people in Canada and Australia and the UK and other countries I've worked with, it seems to be a no problem breeze. But you can get them. You can get them eventually. It may take 3 or 4 phone calls and a couple different people to go through.
So when you get one that's printed out, is it printed out on paper?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have one right here. So somebody gave me this from their chart. And I mean, I appreciate it because I'm like, my God, the ink that they had to use to give me a packet of these is crazy. 90% of the people will just send me a screenshot on their phone or a JPEG image in an email. And that's all I work off of. I don't normally print them off. I would love to have the luxury of printing them off, but I can hardly keep up with printer ink as it is for normal things that this would take me out.
So then how do you transfer a picture like that onto the medium you're using?
So I eyeball it. So I would love to have a session someday with a neurologist to be like, am I getting it right, what I'm seeing and what you're seeing? And that's not normally the most important thing. It's not going to be a literal translation. I don't ever really want it to look like a literal brain.
Right.
I'm not the right artist if that's what somebody wants. And so for this, for example, they pointed out, I know from my own appointments, certain cloudy spots and what are lesions. And usually I'll incorporate a few of these different structures just for a little bit of interest around. Some people have come to me and said, I have a favorite lesion. I had a woman that had a heart-shaped lesion in her brain, which I loved. That's amazing. And it certainly helps. I've had some with arrows on the image that they've sent me, and that's fine too. But, I try my best to capture what I can, but I'm looking at the image on my computer while I'm wood burning. And so the painting comes first for me. This guy. So it's a big, big process. Before I get to this point, I'm usually asking people, what are your favorite colors? What colors bring you joy? Do you want to be relaxed? Do you want to be energized? Is there a palette or a picture or a designer or things that make you happy? And certainly tell me if there are any colors that just you can't stand, because I would hate for that to be on your painting. With the caveat that the ink is going to do its own thing. This is actually only 2 colors besides the gold. And so any other different shades are coming from what I'm mixing it with and what direction it's going. So I take whether it's this view or a side view kind of determines the shape of the painting. This might be a different view. If I had this, it would look like that, but a profile would look like this. And I paint the painting based on the person and what they want to see first. And I use a couple different, there's things called masking liquid, which is almost like it almost hardens down to like a rubber eraser liquid where it won't let things go underneath it. And so if there are certain structures that I want to do, I place it places so that I know what it'll look like when it comes out before I add lesions. And then again, this is 2 layers. So there's a whole second painting underneath this before I start shaping.
Is it showing through the front from the back? Are there like, okay, so you cut out areas and that's what comes through.
This top layer has cutouts. It's really hard to show
there.
But like here, here, here. And some of them are very delicate. Some of them, I don't know that you can tell. This is a print. This is a print of what I did for my MRI for a gallery. This was the second time I painted my own MRI. The original is in a community center right now, but you can see like this would have been a cutout, all of these, which has a little bit more of that kind of stem structure. And then different, sometimes the lesion is cut out and sometimes it's not. Sometimes I use an ink to do it.
Right.
But for this one, I wanted to see kind of a world or a landscape or kind of something different, oceans, things like that within my brain instead of seeing what was in this one 6 new lesions.
Oh my gosh, how gorgeous though.
Yeah, but I came out of it, I'm like, I feel happy now. I feel happy when I look at this. And I really, don't get me wrong, I go through a sulk too. And I'm like, okay, I need to go through all the appointments, do all the things, eat more salads, all that stuff. We all do that. But it's really, it's very healing. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
For you to create it.
It is. And it has a flip side though. I only take on a certain amount of paintings because they're very emotionally heavy. It's very, I never want to be stressed. I don't churn out these paintings one after the other. I need at least a solid week between them because I want to be coming into them with a really calm mind, calm demeanor, and really holding space for the person's story. Because there's been times where maybe I've done 5 or 6 in a row and you feel like you've been re-diagnosed 6 times in a week.
Yeah, you're sensitive. Artists you're taking in other people's energy when you're doing this.
Yeah, it's that has been something that I've had to adjust and manage a little bit more because it's an important thing. It's not every day that somebody wants a picture of their brain that shows something that may not have been a positive impact to their life. I don't know that we could say it's a positive impact in any of our lives, but there's a different way you can look at it and carry forth like we all do. So.
Wow. I think that would be very emotional. I'm just thinking about it and knowing what, basically knowing what different areas are and how they might be affecting the person whose brain it is. It's really, wow, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, I'd say, so what people see on my social media, what I share of that I call the Colors of a Mess project, those, I think I've had 59 people participate in that. And I've painted 186 MRI at this point. So really the vast majority of people don't choose to share it publicly. And I completely respect that. I don't think I would have been ready for that when I was first diagnosed.
Like that.
Yeah, and so I want people to know that because I think that there might be a pressure of, my job doesn't know, only my close family knows. I'm still managing my symptoms. I'm still learning about how to live with this. And that's not ever part of the pressure. The project can be separate from what the painting is because whoever wants it when they want it, it's for a certain reason. in their own personal journey. And a lot of the times it's personal and it's private. So,
I personally would love to have that.
Yeah, and I learn so much through the people that I work with because I am very new still in my own diagnosis. I was diagnosed at the end of 2017. It's 2020 now. It took 15 years to get to a diagnosis. So I was very traumatized by the time I had an answer. So personally, it was a moment of relief because I'm like, okay, it has a name. I'm not crazy. Yeah, like it is real. It showed up. And so, another thing that is kind of a byproduct of the project that maybe is not so positive is that, I'm also very new in my advocacy work. I don't know all the ins and outs of all the different medications and diets and modalities and things that we can do. I know what I know that I've done so far, and I know I can do better with a lot of other things. But being so public with a project like this, I do get worried because I have a lot of people that will come and say like, oh, I'm having these symptoms. What do I do? Do you think it's MS? I've tried this. I'm like, I'm the last person you should ask.
Thank you.
I'm an artist.
Yes, I can give resources. I'm all for sharing any resources that I know, but I certainly do not have any of the answers. I own the Walls protocol. I have not done the Walls protocol. There's a lot of stuff I'm still learning. I hear yoga is really good, but I have not been consistent. So this is something that I've done to, work through things, but I am by no means an expert on all these other things that we can do.
Right.
I hope that makes sense. But in addition to helping people get their imagery, that's kind of been a side thing of like, oh, no.
Yeah. I tell you, interesting. Like I've had MS for over 35 years, and I think it would be interesting if I had been able to have an MRI when I was first having symptoms and then compare it to a current MRI, like having side by side in a frame. This is my brain before MS now, like fast forward into the future, I've got the Swiss cheese thing on my shoulders. And I just think it would be interesting to see the difference between the two images. I think it would be a very emotional situation, but I still think it would be really interesting.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I could see that. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Describe a little bit of how you go about getting the story, and for those who didn't hear it on Instagram, I know you talked about it a little bit, but
yeah. So the people that I work with, I ask that want to be part of the project publicly. I work through 3 different posts, so 3 separate pieces of content of their story, and the caveat to doing this basically through Instagram is Instagram has a word limit. So it can't be a novel, even though all of us could write 10 novels. And I really respect that for so many people that come to this point in the project, it's the first time writing their story down. And it's the first time they're sharing it with perfect strangers. And that's a lot. That is a lot. So the way I've distilled it is that the first post, it's just a picture of the person, and I ask, can you just introduce yourself outside of MS? I'm not talking about anything about MS. How would you like to introduce yourself? Where are you? What do you like to do? Whatever you would like to share. It's very little pressure. Some people write that much, some people write that much. The second post is your diagnosis story, which is the hardest because, I don't know if any of us feel like right now we could sit down and write that in 4 paragraphs. That's a tall ask. We could write quite a lot because every moment is important, and it's an important part of your story. So it does give you pause, and I respect that it takes a while to distill that down into kind of a shorter story. And again, it's a no pressure thing. I say, share as little or as much as you'd like to share. And if it's as much, that's going to be me on a couch trying to edit, which I really dislike doing because I don't want to slice out pieces of other people's stories. That's not my favorite. That takes a lot more conversation, which I'm always happy to do. And sometimes people just need to get it out there, and then we can whittle it down. And then the very last post that I ask people to share is, what is, your present outlook, more in an emotional sense than a medical sense? And is there advice or anything that you'd like to share for others who are newly diagnosed? And I think that's my favorite part of the post, just to hear how people are moving forward with whatever they've chosen to do and whatever they're passionate about. And in a space that's not responding to someone else's story, but is their own story. Because I think, we all know, especially the over advice issue with, if I share that I have MS with anybody, I'm going to hear about everyone's brother's, cousin's, sister's, storekeeper's friend that had it, what happened to them and what they did. Yeah. What I should, I've had the experience of being out to lunch and someone saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have that Coke." And I'm like, "But I want a Coke right now." I realize that. And so it's a space where you can say your thing and you're not having anyone respond to it in a way that is questioning your story. So that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. And what's fun about it for the project is that I give people the option to wait to do their 3 posts before they get their painting or after. And so you can choose to be surprised with it. So Sloan today, today was her art reveal day, she was surprised by it. And that's kind of my favorite because it's like it's seeing your MRI in a way that you're excited about it. And it creates kind of that, from my own upbringing, I'd say like a Christmas morning or my birthday's tomorrow, or I'm expecting a big surprise, and it's going to be good. You don't know what it's going to be, but it also is changing this thing that has been very impactful to you. That is my favorite part. I get equally excited for those evenings, and I probably will send them 10 messages being like, "I can't wait to show you." Yeah. And some people want it in the mail before, and that's fine. So that's another little kind of hidden part of the project that I think is one of my favorite things, is just creating a moment that people can look forward to, that I don't think that you would ever be excited to see your new MRI necessarily. I'm not usually, my doctors know me by now, that they're like, "Okay, we're giving you pictures." But
what are some of the comments people say when they see it for the first time?
I get a lot of, they feel speechless, or it's very emotional, or they feel very proud about their MRI for the first time, or lots of really beautiful quotes that make me cry equally. So and it's been the best work because it's something that even on my harder days, I manage my days and my weeks around when I do my paintings. But there's nothing else that will get me out of bed faster than knowing that someone is looking forward to seeing their painting.
Oh,
I'll make it work. Like, I will nap all week to make it work. So that's really special. That's really, really special. It's never been something that I feel burdened by, or that I need to produce or get out the door. And I hope it can stay that way.
Yeah, I'm amazed. That's just such a beautiful thing out of something that can be so devastating. It puts a whole different perspective on it.
Yeah, and a little side project that I did with it this year is I put the first 50 participants of the project into a book with their final post that they did. So,
Oh,
you know,
that is beautiful.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
things. And then my goal this year, you know, yes, this is something
That is
people can-
really beautiful.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
and it's something I want to keep doing with the next 50 or so. This is a spinal MRI. This one
Oh,
that was
I've never
different,
seen one of those.
which is also something that maybe people don't know as much if they follow my project, is that I don't get a lot of spinal MRI submissions, but that doesn't mean that I won't do them. We'll make it work. But this book is my goal is to send this to neurology offices all over the US. Again, because this is a stubborn artist story, but I remember the day I was diagnosed because my neurology office has the worst painting of 2 ducks in a basket. And I hate those ducks. I don't know. I'm like, why are there ducks on the wall? What is this supposed to make me feel like? You know, and I'm reading my, you know, women's health magazines in the waiting room telling me that I need to be 50 pounds lighter and, you know, what I'm cooking for dinner 10 days a week. And it makes me anxious and it wasn't relevant to me. And I'm like, I would so much rather have some relevant art for people to see with some uplifting advice and a
I
different
think that would be a great idea. I can't imagine that you wouldn't have a lot of people that would want to buy that for their practice.
Well, that's my hope. That's my hope. I'm working on a grant this year that my hope is that I can get it produced to gift to several neurology offices so that it's available.
That is a beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, I definitely want to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Well, you could raffle them off. Highest bidder.
Yeah.
we give our honorees gifts at our fundraiser. That would be a beautiful thing to give them.
Thank you. Yeah,
I was just going to say, I grabbed you, Lindsay, on IG, and I'm gonna message you about a couple things, but I would love to get that book, number 1. Number 2.
Where's the title on that book?
Yeah, what is the title of that book?
Well, I produce every order. So if you want, my hope is that I can produce them cheaper this year. Right now they're $150, which is a lot for an art. I mean, it's an art book. They're very thick pages and it's a lay flat. With 100 pages. So it's not something that I wanted to be a money maker. I just want everybody that has MS to have it. So I'm trying to figure out.
You deserve to have a little proceeds.
I know. I'm working on that. I'm such a stone cold empath. It just doesn't work very well sometimes. But it's you know, the people that were in the project, I wanted them to have it because, you know, I like, you know, their story affects others as well. And so they're a huge part of this. Absolutely. I'm distracted because we have a giant hailstorm now out the window.
And Lindsay, I also want to say, I want to thank you for making me an honest woman, because I'm going to get my MRIs and we're going to talk about me getting one of these paintings. But every time I go in to have my MRIs done, I say to the technicians, so where's my big bag of money or my paycheck? And they look at me with this very stone face and I go, well, I'm modeling my brain for you. And so now you've made me an honest woman. I'm actually modeling my brain for art. I love this.
I love that. You see, if you make the first request, they'll keep giving it to you, which I'm really excited about. And I now have my eye doctor on board because I don't know if anyone's had the crazy cornea scan recently, but it looks like a sunset. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want it. Give it to me. I guess I'm going to paint eyeballs now. I don't know, but so, I don't know what I'm looking at there, but
Oh, that's funny.
so just get it all. Get it all. Get it all.
You're very, very, very talented. I want one. I want a painting.
Thank you.
Wow. Really cool.
Are there any other questions about the medium or anything like that?
Process. You can find Lindsay. Tell them how they can find you.
I'm most active on Instagram, which is, if you see my name here in the corner, it's just at Lindsey with my middle name Joy Holcomb. So I feel in trouble every time someone tags me because it's my full name. So that I'm can be found on Instagram. I really don't manage my Facebook very well very often. I try to stay off there. So if you message me there, it may take a little while for me to get it to it. My website is also lindseyjoyholcomb.com, which has my email and all of that through it. But
Very, very, very enlightening.
thank you.
No, thank you.
So everybody find some sort of medium that makes your heart happy and just play with it, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say, this is Lori Perna talking, and I have my picture up.
You gotta wonder when
Fabulous.
Lori's quiet. It's about
Oh.
time she speaks up.
Lori, where you been? No, I'm
Well,
kidding.
if you look at that picture of my husband and I, that's an hour's worth of makeup and an hour's worth of hair. And
Oh,
I'll never look that good again. So it's my favorite picture. But I just have to tell you, I totally enjoyed this time with you, Lindsey. It's your artwork and your personality. It's just a
Yeah.
pleasure to have spent time with you, and to share everything that you've been doing is pretty terrific. So thank you.
Thank you. That makes my day.
Aw.
This is truly the highlight of my day. After this, I have to go clean a gerbil cage.
Oh no. Well, we really,
The love of motherhood.
I know. My 6-year-old has gerbils, therefore I have gerbils.
Oh, I have been there, done it. Mine had a rabbit.
Oh, it was the pandemic give. I was like, okay.
Lindsey, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
This is so special what you do, and I want everyone to know about what you do and see your art and your book. And we will
Mindy, thank
definitely
you.
share this so people see it. For
Great.
anyone who missed this evening, and what you're doing is inspiring in so many different ways.
Thank you
Indeed.
so much.
You know, the
It's been a
fact that you
pleasure.
did this so early after diagnosis, it's like you found your way.
It's a heck of a coping mechanism, isn't it?
Yes, wow, you
Thought
are
it a little bit.
I don't believe that you're not an artist. I mean, obviously, you're a musician and you're an artist. You tell your family. They know now, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, be well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So good meeting all of you.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you, Lindsey. Thank you.
Thank you very
Nice to
much.
see everybody.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Mindy, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.